that in Japan, there is a 70% chance that lost money will be reported to the police or public institutions. Last year, the total amount of lost money that was reported in Japan reached an all-time high. There was also a record number of cases where the person who dropped the item did not come back to retrieve it, even though it was reported. Why do you think this happens? Recently, the number of travelers visiting Japan has significantly increased. Many people who lose their money while traveling do not go through the process of reclaiming it. In Japan, if you lose money, there is a very high chance that it will be found and returned to you. In this video, where it is easy to lose money, how to find your lost money when it is found and when it is not found, death insurance, points to keep in mind to avoid losing money. Let's elaborate. In Japan, lost money is returned. For many people, traveling abroad is a special experience. Even if you don't usually lose them, you may be an exception while traveling. First, we will discuss where you are most likely to lose your items in Japan. Be careful where you are most likely to lose it. The most common place: trains. For many foreign travelers, Japanese trains can be confusing. You need to keep track of which train to take, which station to get off at, your schedule. You are most likely to lose your money on the train. The next most common place to forget something is in the city. There are many interesting landscapes in the streets of Japan. In addition, there are many cars on the streets of Japan, and the streets are narrow. You have to pay attention to many things. In such a situation, it is very easy to drop your bag. The next most frequently forgotten item is the airfield. Everyone feels at ease when they arrive at the airport and complete the formalities. They forget things because they feel relaxed. Also, there is a lot of waiting time at the airport. During the waiting time, people sometimes forget their belongings. Last but not least are hotels. Cases of forgotten items in hotels are more common than you might imagine. In addition to rooms, there are very many cases where items are left in lobbies and hotel restaurants. How to search and report. What should you do if you lose your money? Your response will depend on where you lost it. Let's start with the case of losing it at a station or on a train. First, you should inquire at the staff room at the station where you are. In most cases, Japanese is the only language spoken in the staff rooms of Japanese trains. Therefore, please use a translator to tell the train staff the following information. 1. The place where you lost it. 2. The time you lost it. If you lost it on the train, please be sure to explain what time you lost it and from which station you boarded the train. Most of the time, if you lost on a train, it will be found at the terminus station or in the railroad company's storage area. You do not have to go to the train station. Japanese railroads keep data on lost items. Therefore, in many cases, if found, they can be checked at other stations. However, if found, you must go there. In Japan, there are many railroad companies. If you contact different railroad companies, they will not find you. If you make a mistake, you will be given the correct contact information. To do this, you need to tell them exactly which station you took a train from and which train you took. If lost at a hotel or airfield, contact the respective staff room. At hotels and airfields, English and other non-Japanese languages are often understood, especially in the case of hotels. If you call or email the hotel, they may be able to send you to your current location. However, this service varies from hotel to hotel. You must also pay the fare. In the case of airfields, you must go to the staff room of the airfield. If you lose your things on the street, go to the nearest police station. Japanese police officers cannot understand foreign languages. Therefore, Please use a translator to explain in detail. Many Japanese police officers are very kind. They will try to help you as much as possible. There is one thing to keep in mind when contacting the police. That is, the scope of police jurisdiction is defined. For example, Tokyo police officer can only search the Tokyo area. If you lose an item in Osaka, Tokyo police officer will not be able to check it. There is another important rule. When a lost item is reported to the Japanese police, that is that the person who picked it up is entitled to retain 10% of the amount. This is a legal rule. There are plenty of people who waive their 10% rights. However, it is up to the person who picks it up to decide whether to waive it. The person who finds the item must report it to the police in order to be entitled to the 10%. Therefore, if the item is found in a commercial establishment or train station, it may be reported to the police and not to the staff room. Therefore, many lost items in Japan can be found by the police, even if you cannot find it after inquiring at the staff room. It is recommended to inquire at the police. Most Japanese people report found items to the police or the staff room of the facility. There is a chance that your lost item can be found. Don't give up and look for it. When it is found and when it is not found. In Japan, many lost and found can be found. The numbers are clear. About 70% of all lost and found items in Japan are returned to you. However, there are cases where you cannot find it. This case is when your money or property has been stolen by a crime. If stolen by crime, they can rarely be recovered. Many people may think that Japan is a safe country. This is only true in a small number of cases. Of course, please note that this does not mean that there is no crime at all. Travel insurance and travel precautions. Many travelers think that because they have insurance, they are safe. This is a mistake. Most insurance policies do not cover cash. For example, suppose you lose your wallet containing $100 while traveling. However, the $100 cash in my wallet is not compensated. Many people assume that because they have insurance for their trip, they are safe. You should be very careful, especially since cash is often not covered by insurance. What precautions should I take? Be especially careful in places where non-Japanese gather in Japan. This is not to say that Japanese do not commit crimes at all. However, very few Japanese would consider committing crimes against foreigners because of their small stature. However, in recent years, so many people travel to Japan. Therefore, non-Japanese criminals are targeting you. These criminals target places where travelers congregate. For example, airports and popular tourist spots. They pose as travelers and wait in places where travelers congregate. You may be surprised to learn that theft crimes at airports are very common. Thus, be especially careful in places where travelers congregate. It is also important to note that there are many things to become accustomed to while traveling. Your strict attention is the best way to prevent this. We hope you will find your trip to Japan very satisfying. I would be very sorry if you lose your things or suffer a crime while traveling. Ars Japan channel. Many meaningful videos for people traveling to Japan. Please subscribe to channel. Please look forward to the next video. Thank you for watching.